Pretty cool stonefly. Oh, so beautiful. See you, buddy. Hello there and welcome everyone. I know it's been a while and I apologize for that. Today we're fishing a stream in the Tallapoosa River drainage, and the Tallapoosa River is of course part of the Mobile Basin. And in the Tallapoosa River drainage you have three native species of black bass: the Tallapoosa bass, which is the upland species, the Alabama bass, and the largemouth bass. Today we're not really targeting any one fish. I'm here because it's almost the second week of March. The dogwoods are blooming and a lot of the male Alabama bass are starting to move into these shoals. And the smaller males, just like largemouth bass in a lake or pond, the males always move into these spawning areas first because they have to make the nests before the females can lay their eggs. So the males are the first to move into these shoals where they'll actually spawn. And that's actually starting to happen this week. And most of the fish will actually spawn probably around the first week of April. And it's pretty much the same with shoal bass in Georgia also. They spawn around the same time, more or less. And again, that's around the first week of April. That's probably when you see the most spawning activity on average from year to year. And you know, some spawn before then, and then quite a few will spawn after that. But you see probably the most spawning activity and the biggest fish in the shoals probably the first week of April. That's, you know, some years it might be a week or two off that, but usually, more often than not, that first week of April is when these fish really get in these shoals. And you can also have some Gulf strain striped bass, which if they're stocked in any of the man-made impoundments downstream, this is when they run upstream and they try and spawn. A lot of them don't actually reproduce. They just kind of go through the spawning process. You know, they make a spawning run, and then the males will attempt to fertilize the eggs of the female striped bass. But most of those fish, there's very little natural reproduction. That's why the DNR, they have to stock those striped bass in those man-made impoundments. Oh man, I was looking at that vulture over there and I got one crushed it. Oh, there's one. That might be him. That might be the one that missed it. It's about the same size. The old Alabama bass. Well, he's got some kind of, looks like I can see a jig skirt or something down in his, I could see the silicone strands of what looked like a jig or something in there. Yeah, that's now that's a crayfish. It's not a jig. I don't know if you can see that. He's gonna probably consume it, but that's a nice chunky Alabama bass. See you, buddy. There we go. Didn't miss that one. Come here. Another chunky Alabama bass. Oh, actually, this is a Tallapoosa Alabama hybrid. You see those white fin margins on the outer edge of the caudal fin there? You can see that. He's also got a partial crescent on the back of his eye. So this is an Alabama Tallapoosa hybrid. He's even got a little white on the edge of the anal fin there. That's not a good sign, but these do occur. You know, the Tallapoosa bass and the Alabama bass are both native to the Tallapoosa River drainage. So you do come across these natural hybrids every now and then. You know, pretty much every time I go fishing, I catch one, but this one, well, typically I do not release these. Again, this fish is a hybrid, and it's just going to go out and make thousands more hybrids if you release it. So I'm not going to release this fish. It's kind of overcast, so I don't know how much of the bottom you can see right here, but we've got, you know, these bedrock outcrops, and then between them and around them you have these deeper holes. So I like to work the spinnerbait up high in the water column, you know, close to the surface. But when I get near one of those holes, I can drop my rod, which allows the spinnerbait to drop down into those deeper holes, and, you know, next to those bedrock outcrops. If I was fishing, you know, a lake or a pond or some flat water, you know, I'd probably point my rod at the bait most of the time. You know, so I'm not out of position to set the hook. But with this moving water and this, you know, the irregular bottom, you kind of have to, you can't really do that. It's not the most effective way to fish the bait when you have this kind of habitat and moving water on top of that. Holding your rod up also keeps the line out of the water, you know, so you don't have a big bow in your line. You know, the current's not making a big bow in your line, which can also cause you to miss fish. That's a good one. The hog was by the log. It's not a hog, but it's a nice one. Come here. Boy, that one ate it, literally. It was almost gut hooked. That's a perfect native Alabama bass right there. "16" or so. Just a nice solid fish. See ya. Oh, it's a fish. Oh, come on. Oh, he's running at me. Oh, God. That was a good one, folks. God, the barb never even came through the plastic. That is a real shame. That was a nice fish. I always run the hook through the plastic and leave it exposed, but sometimes when those fish crush the worm down in their throat, they can it can reposition the hook inside the worm, and that's apparently what happened there. I know that was a really good fish for two reasons. The bait never even got to the bottom. The fish ate it before the bait got to the bottom, and then I never caught up with the fish. It was running out towards deep water here. Typically when that happens, when something like that happens, it tells me that a Wacky-rig might be more effective. But the problem with the Wacky-rig is it's not, well, it may be what the fish want, it's not very efficient. You know, it's just a slow way to fish. And if I can get them to bite a shaky head or a Texas rig, I would much rather do that, just because I can cover more water. I've also got some trees right here behind me. I got my left leg on a bedrock outcrop, and I'm kind of like a power pole here, and I can't really set the hook to, you know, properly with this tree behind me. But if I was to move out into the channel away from the tree, I might not only spook the fish, but there's not really a rock out there I can stand on. So for now, I'm gonna kind of stay here and just kind of sweep the rod low to the water when I get a bite. Oh, here we go, folks. Come on! God. Oh my gosh. I was trying to catch up to that fish, folks, and when I did, it decided to run the other way and just broke my line. This is 8-pound fluorocarbon, and that fish just made me look like a complete idiot. I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in there. Wow. Yeah, that's not how you want to fight a fish, folks. But I mean, when you're standing on one leg, trying to set the hook under a tree, you know, it's not easy. This line is all frayed, so I'm going to have to just cut it anyway. I'm not going to leave it in the tree, folks. Don't worry. I'm going to pull it out of the tree. There we go. We got it. I'm gonna wad it up and it goes in my cooler. Don't throw your line in the creek or river, people. Goes right in there. Okay, we're going to try the Wacky-rigged, folks. There we go. On the Wacky-rig. I'm standing on this rock, so I can't follow him with the camera too well. You know, I apologize for that. This fish is a pretty good one. Not a giant, but it's a solid fish. And that one wasn't coming off. Unless, of course, he broke my line. Okay. Again, I am standing on one foot trying to balance on this rock, folks, so bear with me. Chunky Alabama bass. And it almost looks like something larger tried to bite him there at one point. There are Gulf strain striped bass in this part of the drainage. It's quite possible he had a run-in with one at some point. Could also be a flathead catfish. I think there are a few of those in there as well, but get this fish back in the water. Okay. See you, buddy. Well, that one ate it on the fall. Oh, wow. That's a grown one, folks. Oh, what a jump. We got him. We got him. Didn't have any trees around me to foul up the operation. Not a giant, but that is the best one so far. 18 3/4. Nice Alabama bass. See you, buddy. Uh-oh. I knew there was one over by that tree. Not as big as the last one, but it's still a nice one. Another Bama bass. Come here. That one's got the old antenna down his throat. Not sure if there's sufficient light to see that, but that fish also has the red tooth patch, and the tooth pads are red, and the crushers there inside the mouth. That's usually due to cold water. I hear a lot of people say it's because they're eating crayfish, but it's actually the water temp. When you have low water temps, that in the winter you see that a lot. See you, buddy. What were you doing up there? Up there on the bank. Oh. You must have thought you were a largemouth. You're some kind of weird Alabama bass. It might even be some kind of hybrid. I think it might be a Tallapoosa. Yeah, he's got some white margins there on the anal fin, and the white margins on the caudal fin are kind of faded, but they're the lower one you can kind of see. But that's another Alabama Tallapoosa hybrid. Very weird fish. Oh, that's a striper. Little striper. That is a channel first. The first one I've actually landed, that is. I'll take him over here so we can look at him. There's some a lot bigger than that in here. I'm kind of glad I didn't hook one of his larger relatives. Okay. Oh man, we got him in the eye. Sorry, buddy. Well, there we go. The Gulf strain striped bass. get this guy back in the water. You can't hold these fish out of the water very long. There she goes, or he. It's probably a male, but we'll take a striped bass. They're actually boy, he's jumping. For an Alabama bass, they typically don't jump that much, but this guy probably doesn't like that spinnerbait in his nose. Oh yeah, he was hooked outside the head with the primary hook. It's another nice chunky fish, about 16 inches or so. See you, buddy. It's this way. This way. That way. Pretty cool stonefly. I'm sure there's a lot of fish that would like to eat this guy. I'm gonna leave him on the bank there. He's been riding my kayak for the last hour. Pretty cool to see a dragonfly emerge. Dragonfly adult there, and you can see the larval stage. Wow. As soon as that hit the water, that's definitely an Alabama bass. Oh. Well, folks, that's what happens when you use a spinnerbait longer than you probably should. The wire breaks. Kind of hate it for the fish. He was right over there under that mountain laurel right there. Didn't need a trailer hook for that one. He liked the old chartreuse. The old Alabama bass. Yeah, the first spinnerbait was a spot sticker mini-me, and it was a 3/8 ounce. I think the color was white shad, and this is a 3/8 ounce Stanley vibra shaft with similar blades, 3.5 and a 4 nickel and a gold and a chartreuse and white skirt, whereas the other one was a white shad, like I said. But I don't, again, skirt color doesn't seem to matter right now. They're really eating it. Oh, now that is a good Tallapoosa bass. Textbook specimen right there. You can see these dark scale spots. They form these dark horizontal rows of spots. Those are actually dark scale spots, but you can see the white fin margins. He's got a little turquoise. Definitely That's kind of more what they look like around the spawn, you know, a lot more turquoise. Just a beautiful fish. You can see the vertically elongated blotches really well. Yeah, that's a beautiful fish. Oh, so beautiful. See you, buddy. Thanks. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bedrock shoal right here that comes out way off the bank, but right before that, it's actually pretty deep. I can't even see the bottom. And again, you've got this tree hanging over the water, even though there's no leaves or buds on it yet. That actually looks like it's a mimosa tree. But anyway, it's just a textbook place for any kind of upland species of black bass. But that's where that Tallapoosa bass was holding right there. Right about there. I just realized I just need a largemouth for the Tallapoosa Grand Slam. Now at this point, something happened to the audio. I don't really know for sure what happened, but that's just one of the things you have to sometimes deal with when you're making these videos. Anyways, you can see I moved to another section that has a lot of flat water, so there's not as much current. Less current means more wood cover, and that's really ideal habitat for largemouth bass. So of course, the first fish I catch in this section is an Alabama bass. After that fish, I decided this bank was just too rocky and too deep. The largemouth are probably getting ready to spawn, so I decided the other bank just looked a lot better. It's kind of an inside bend, so it's flatter, and there's a lot more wood cover, as you can see. And 2 casts later, I catch the largemouth bass to complete the Tallapoosa Grand Slam. So we got the Alabama bass, the Tallapoosa bass, the largemouth bass, and the striped bass. And that largemouth was actually the last fish I caught that day. There were some really strong storms moving into that area, so I had to leave right after I released that fish. And that's the end of the video, so I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching. See you, buddy.